All righty. Well, welcome back. And I'm so sorry about that. Welcome to Unchurch with Katie Weaver. Again, we had a technical difficulty that I think we're just going to start over. So I apologize about that. It was entirely my fault. My laptop said it had half of a battery, which should have been like 2 hours, and it suddenly just dropped to no battery and died. So not cool, but it is what it is. So we can start again. Technology issues, you will not get us down. I want to welcome you guys this morning. If you are here with me live, it is the 9th of February. It is 9 a.m. Pacific time, quarter after now, of course. But anyway, 10:15 Mountain Time, which is actually where I am. And I'm just really happy to be here. I'm happy to see what I can do this morning to help introduce a little more spiritual upliftment to your Sunday morning and to mine as well. So, this is a 20-minute long broadcast, no longer, because you guys are busy and I'm busy. And so, we're not going to go crazy, but we are going to share a few things together this morning. So, first and foremost, obviously, happy full moon. I'm very excited to be able to share this full moon with you guys. It's not very often that we get to meet together on such an auspicious day. So, pretty fun. What in the world? I am just ripe with technical issues this morning. It looks like Facebook Live ended my video again. So, I'm going to try to start that over again on Facebook Live. I think we're still live, however, on YouTube. And this might be our last attempt if we can't get something going this morning. Sorry, you guys. Technology sometimes, just really wants to bring us down. But we're not going to play. So, anyway, here we are. So, what I would like to do today, and I do want to let you guys know that I am streaming this event through Facebook and through YouTube. It is Katie Weaver on both accounts, Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic over on YouTube. So, if it's not working well for you in one place, it might be working well for you in the other. So, you might check that out. All righty. Well, let's talk about the full moon. It's a full moon in Leo. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that the new moon this month was pretty brutal. The new moon was very unforgiving. I felt like it brought out a lot of aggression in people. Not a good time, but what do you do? But so I had hope for this full moon that it would be a little kinder to us. And the good news is, I feel like it is. I feel like people are finally feeling a little more grounded, a little more centered, and a lot less scattered than we have been. So that's the upside. Uh, this has been a really tumultuous week in the collective. And so, in the collective energy body, I feel like people have been feeling a lot of chaos. That's not great, however, and we're going to work on that together today. And then we're going to talk about a topic that I think I'm really passionate about, actually, and that is the four agreements. I've talked about it a lot, so some of you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with it. But the four agreements, gosh, I think right now, frankly, I think that every politician on the planet of Earth should be required to read the four agreements and follow them. But whatever, we can, right? And so that's what we're going to do. But I am going to talk a little about that today. So that's what's happening. I read a story yesterday that I thought was such a sweet tale for our heartwarming story of the week. And it was a story about a man in London who had tickets to a football game, a soccer game. And he had an extra ticket in his pocket. And he got there, not sure what to do with that ticket or if he was just going to waste it. But in front of the stadium was a homeless man, an ancient homeless man, that he just got inspired to go and talk to. So he talked to him, discovered that he's a big fan, and he thought, well, why not, right? So he invited this gentleman to be his guest to the game, and they sat together, they cheered, they laughed, they had a blast. He bought food, and they had a wonderful time, and he made a lifelong friend there. And I just thought that was the cutest, sweetest story. May we all be so much more like him. I think that he probably had people around him that weren't thrilled. This gentleman was not clean. He wasn't in clean clothes. His hair and his beard were a wreck. I mean, he looked like a homeless person and he probably smelled like a homeless person. And I wondered if people around him were giving him dirty looks, if they were rude about it. I mean, to hell with those guys, right? But they probably were, but he didn't care. He just wanted to do this thing. He felt really inspired to do it and he did. And good on him. I just thought that was a very sweet story about first of all, about the ways that I think in some ways, things like sports can bring people together, right? These at that moment were just two sports fans, not men that were very, very different in their socioeconomic situations or their housing situations or anything else, or their ages, because there was a big gap. None of that mattered. They were all fans of the team. They were there to cheer them on, and that's what they were going to do. Very sweet. Very kind. May we all be a whole lot like that, right? I loved it. All righty. Well, I want to I want to drum for you today. And the reason why is because I have talked to so many of you guys here in the last few what do I say? Probably the last week or two that have a lot of Arak debris. So what the hell is Arak debris? Well, that means your aura, your spirit, your bubble is dirty in you've picked up a bunch of psychic debris, a bunch of stuff out there in the ethers that has gotten stuck on you. And it looks like the Facebook video has ended itself again. And I don't know why this keeps happening, but I'm going to just keep going on YouTube. So I cannot keep fiddling with Facebook like this. I'm not sure why it's happening, but I'm guessing it's on their end. So, oh well, YouTube, it's you. All righty. Well, so I want to drum for you guys today for that reason, because I want to help clear your aura. I've done a ton of that recently. Like I said, how do you know your aura is, affected, is dirty in essence? Well, it's heavy. It's a heavy energy. It is kind of thing energy. Some people report feeling really uncomfortable in their skin, feeling weird, feeling off. It just feels icky. And sometimes like you go to a place that you really don't vibe with and you walk out of there just feeling like you just, need an energetic shower, right? This week has been kind of like that because there's so many volatile, angry, weird people right now with not weird, but weird, yeah, weird behavior happening right now that's kind of what's happening. So, we're going to drum because drumming is a fabulous way to clear your aura. It's quick and it's easy. So it's what we're going to do. So here's what is going to happen. I'm going to play my drum. All I'm going to ask you to do is close your eyes and breathe with the drum. Hold the intention that the frequency of the drum will completely clear your aura of any psychic debris, any cords, connections, anything that you might be carrying that you don't want. We're just going to let the frequency of the drum be gone with it, right? Two things about the drum. The first one is after you listen to the drum for a while, sometimes you hear things coming through it, voices, chanting, singing, maybe other noises. That's normal. A lot of people experience that, and just pay attention to what you're hearing. It's pretty interesting stuff. Also, some people, when you first start the drum, have a fight or flight response. You suddenly feel like you just need to turn this off or flee from the room or just get out of here. That's normal too. If you can't get past that, it's fine. I get it. You're not going to hurt me, right? However, I do want to challenge you to try to breathe through it and allow yourself to stay and benefit from the session. So breathe all the way through it. Assure yourself that you are okay, and then focus on the frequency and see what comes through for you. All righty. So I'm going to hold the drum in a way that the back, so this is the back of the drum, that the back of it is going to come through the mic because that's the frequency that should be coming to you. If I was drumming on you, like if this was one of those kinds of sessions, that's how I would hold the drum so that when I'm pounding, the frequency is coming through the back of the drum to you. So that's how I will set it up today so that you get full benefit. So take a deep breath, relax a little bit with me here. Change my grip. I don't think I can hold it like that forever. That's better. All right, here we go. Awesome. Okay, good. That felt really good. I felt a nice release in my heart chakra and something really shift from my back. So I hope that you guys were able to experience a shift there too. Part of the reason I wanted to drum and do some clearing work with you today is because it is the full moon. And this is a really good day to let go of things that you're carrying that you don't want. And so for me, all of that energetic debris, I don't want to go into the next cycle with it, right? Why would you? The fun thing about this moon is that there's a lot of creative energy in it. And when you're weighed down like that, sometimes it's hard to tap into that creative energy. But that creative energy is in your sacral chakra typically. And that's also the place that you experience joy and express sexuality. So, who wants to be held down, right? No. So, that's why we do that work, right? That's why we get into it. So, I wanted to lecture for a few minutes today on the Four Agreements. The Four Agreements are a book. It is written by Don Miguel Ruiz. Don Miguel Ruiz is a Toltec practitioner. This is his family's wisdom. And the Four Agreements are this: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Pretty simple, right? But human nature teaches us otherwise. Our ego teaches us otherwise. Your ego resides in your left brain. It wants to keep you safe. But this is kind of like your rabid dog, right? This is the dog that you take on a walk that attacks the tiny poodle because it's trying to keep you safe. The ego sometimes gets way out of control. And the ego sometimes gets a little too interested in power and, things like to ensure your safety, wants money, wants stability. Sometimes people's egos go way too far, as we know. That's not so much what we're talking about today, but you see that in people sometimes, too often, probably. Be impeccable with your word. It means that you speak with integrity. It means that you tell the truth. It means that you are willing to be honest. It means that you're willing to be authentic. Are you always impeccable with your word? Probably not. Am I? No, I know I'm not, but I know that it's something I can keep striving for. And I do feel like in this world that we are currently in, if you can continue to challenge yourself to be impeccable with your word, you will continue to thrive in ways that can't be measured by your bank account, but can be measured by your friends, can be measured by your heart, and can be measured by the way you feel about yourself. Because people that aren't impeccable with their word end up in really bad cycles. And I'm not just talking about, a pathological liar. I don't think that's any of you. But when you start not being completely honest with yourself and with others, it won't be long and you'll find yourself in a place where you don't feel good about where your life is at. It's just the way that goes. It is a fear based energy, and living in a fear based energy is just that, it's fearful. It leaves you feeling like you are constantly having to defend yourself, constantly having to do something to make yourself okay. Who wants to live like that? But I think it is a great challenge to continue to work on that one. Don't take anything personally. This is a huge one for all of you empaths out there because you do feel what other people feel. So sometimes you will feel like somebody doesn't like you, right? Newsflash, not everyone has to like you, and not everyone has to be your friend. That's not why you're on this planet. It's okay. If there are people that aren't your people, that's fine. Move on. Don't work super hard. Don't allow yourself to get manipulated. Don't do it just so that people will like you. It's self gratifying. And I think for an empath, you have to recognize that. You're gratifying yourself by creating a space where people like you because you feel good, because you feel their feel goods. Does that make sense? But it's not authentic. So when that comes up, when those times come that you feel other people's feelings and they are about you, take a step back. Quit worrying about it. It's not your it's not yours to judge. It's not yours to take care of. It is yours to process through. It is yours to forgive yourself. It is yours to take a step back. It is actually none of your business. Years ago, I used to feel very hurt by my mother in law, by things that weren't said, but that I was feeling, by things that she didn't say to my face, but were going on behind my back. And I finally had to take a step back and recognize, you know what? It's none of my business. And yes, she obviously doesn't like me. Yes, her malice is here, but I can't constantly be letting myself get hurt by all of that. And when I took a big step back from it, I was so much happier. But I think on a general scale, for empaths particularly, and for all of us, you have to find a place where you can do that. Don't make assumptions. That's a tough one, especially for empathic and intuitive people because or you think but making assumptions, what do they say? It makes an ass out of you and me. Making assumptions is dangerous water. And in this technological world, it is easy to think that you know what the tone of something is. Your ego is going to read tone in whatever way it chooses. Was that intended? Maybe not. Did that person text you that thing or write that thing on your Facebook wall with the tone or the inflection that you read it in? Not necessarily. Do not assume. But beyond that, be careful that you don't assume what other people are up against. One thing we know for sure, pardon me, is that everyone is going through something. You don't know. That girl that's ringing up your groceries that is snappy and unfriendly, maybe she's going through a terrible bout of grief or depression. You know, that bank teller that's a bit unreasonable, well, maybe she's been in trouble for not following the rules and now she's a ridiculous stickler. You don't know. Don't assume. Expect that people are out to help you. Expect that people are out to be on your team until they have really proven to you otherwise. That doesn't mean get taken for a big ride and get taken advantage of. You always have to protect you. We know this, but be careful about assuming what people's intentions are. So frequently, we have no idea what's going on in their hearts and in their heads, and assuming just creates more rifts and more divisions. And then the fourth of the four agreements is always do your best. Always do your best. Do we always do our best? I know I don't. I can freely admit that. But I know that's a place that I can grow, right? I know I can do better. I know you can do better. If we become complacent and we decide that it's good enough, whatever we're doing is good enough, you have nothing to strive for, right? There's no goals to set. There's nothing to get excited about. There's nothing to plan for. When life is just fine the way it is and there's nothing that you want to improve upon, well, maybe in some ways you can relax and let yourself off the hook. But at the same time, why? If this life is all about learning and growing and gathering love and knowledge, which I believe it is, then we have to do that thing. Always be learning, always be seeking new information, always be keeping your heart open and your mind open to new information. That is how you grow, right? So, those are the four agreements. I think we could do a whole, broadcast on each one of them, and maybe at some point we will. But they came up really strong for me this week. That if, as a whole general populace, we could follow them better, we would be better. And I had a little chuckle to myself thinking that I really wish that politicians worldwide would be required to read that book and adhere to it. But, dare to dream, right? All righty. You guys have a wonderful week. If you would like more information about me, just head over to katie-weaver.com. It's all there. Take care of yourselves, and I will be back here next week, same place, same time. Have a good day.